up, everybody? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece Chapter 642. And I'm going to just start off with this one, man. I like what Oda did here. He's continuing to kind of, play up the themes that we've been seeing in Fishman Island so far, where you've had the whole thing with the next generation possibly being what breaks the whole racism and discrimination stuff that goes on in Fishman Island. And what I really like and what really struck me, right, it wasn't all the fighting that was going on. I'll touch on that later. But as you guys know, I pay attention to the character interactions and just the development and the storytelling aspects of what we get in this. And what I really like is how Oda devoted quite a few significant panels to those young kids who were looking at I believe the minister of the left and the right, whichever one was given the evacuation order. And he was telling them, he was like, hey, you do understand those are pirates, like those are humans, and they're fighting for Fishman Island, for our island. They got the snot in their nose and they're just super emotional. And with that, it was just so touching, because one of the things that, I feel like is that when you look at kids, like the smallest of the smallest, right? You see in them, ideally, you see all of the good things that you want out of society, because they're so young. They're tabula rasa. They're a blank slate, if you will. And so they can be dyed any color based on their experiences. And what you're seeing here is what Odahime was trying to teach them. You're actually seeing this several years, I think 10 years after her death. And so I like what you see here. I really like that, because it's just showing that a message of peace, a message of love will outlast the message of hatred. And they do go hand in hand. It's a very popular theme in Star Wars. And what I mean by popular is it's accepted by a lot of fans. Where there's light, there will always be darkness. They have to go hand in hand. One cannot outweigh the other. And so it's almost as if you need characters like Vanderdecken, you need characters like Hody and the Fishmen, who are taking up their discrimination against humans, their hatred against humans, to a level where they're reaching the point of being compared to the celestial dragons. And you need that in order to show the next generation things ain't always going to be rosy and all, sweet. Sometimes they're going to be evils. But what matters is how you rise up in the face of injustice, how you rise up in the face of wrongdoing. What will your response be? Will you be an onlooker, or will you take up arms? Will you do the right thing? And that's an overarching theme when it comes to this chapter, because when the chapter opens up, you have Hachi saying if it be a fair fight, then the Straw Hats would win. And then on the flip side of that, right, after you see a fishman putting his trust in a human, the same group that discriminated against him, when the same group, when they were on Sayabodi, the same group that was putting him through hell, trying to auction off Cammy. I love that. I love that you see that, and then it transitions over to where the citizens of Fishman Island are looking and they're saying, well, the princess is trying to lead the ship away. Shirahoshi is just doing her thing. She's trying to get the ship out. We should take this opportunity and run. That's what the minister of the left, the minister of the right, that's what they told us to do. Who would have thought that Noah would have did this? We must get out of here. And then all it takes is one voice to break this groupthink mentality, this mob mentality. He says, hey, would you really feel right running away and not staying? The princess, you can't let her sacrifice go. Yes, we probably need to get out of here, but at the same time, this is our island. And then it takes it a step further, where first you see the split in the divide. Some people want to run, some people want to stay. Some people say, how can they possibly run when their precious princess is trying to protect the island at the expense of her life? And then one of the officials steps in and he says, these Straw Hat pirates who we falsely charge, these humans, are shedding blood, sweat, to try and protect the island. And let's just be clear, right? Well, nobody's shedding blood on the Straw Hats, because like all of them, all the way down to like the weak trio of Nami and Usopp and Chopper. I guess I should swap out Nami for Nicole Robin, because like Nicole Robin on some other shit. She just kind of watching everything, right? She watching everything. But no, real talk though. Like, you got like the weak trio, Nami and Robin. I mean Chopper. And you got Usopp. That's the weak trio, and they're putting in the work. And what I find interesting is he says like we falsely accused them, and if we run, then what does that say about us? We've lost our pride. We've lost our face as a nation. Let us support them. And what I love about that is, yet again, on another island, you see the Straw Hats interacting, changing the perception of pirates in the eyes of so many people. And again, I stick with it. I think when Luffy becomes king of the pirates, if Oda doesn't take the brass balls and kill him off, which I do think is still somewhat possible. Not completely, but still somewhat possible. And when I get caught up, I'm going to do a video on that because I've seen some stuff leading into this where I still think it's possible, but I don't feel as high as I did before. But I think Luffy, by the time he becomes king of the pirates, I think he's going to change the perception. He's going to change the perception of what pirates are. I think that's going to be a big thing. I think Roger, in a way, kind of started it by saying, here's the One Piece, go find it. And the adventure and the flashback with Rayleigh, Luffy and Roger, there's some similarities there. Even their build, when you look at how Roger is built as an adult, and then you look at Garp, that's why I think they might be related, because their builds progress similarly. When you saw Roger at that young age and then you saw Luffy, their build is similar. And more than likely, Luffy's going to grow into that, just like how Dragon is a big boy himself. So I'm keeping my eye on that, and I think Luffy's way of the pirate is going to be adventure and probably standing up for some of the weaker people, doing the right thing. And I don't think that second part's going to be something he actively pushes. I think that's something that you get from being around Luffy. It changes your perspective of stuff. It makes you want to take that road because you see him doing it. He leads by example in that route, and that's something that he's always done, but now he has the power, the badassery to back it up. So I like that. I really and truly like that. I enjoy that aspect of it. Now, the other thing that I found very interesting about this is when you see the humans getting stepped on, right? And how one of the fishmen, I believe it's the drunk swordsman, he's sitting there and he says, okay, well, he fell down, get me another human. And Nicole Robin has a moment of reflection. She has a moment of reflection, and she sits there and she basically says, how disgusting is this? And the reason why I thought this was key is when you look at Nicole Robin, right? Nicole Robin is a human, okay? But at the same time, just as you have humans and you have fishmen in One Piece, or in the real world where you have all these different ethnicities and backgrounds and everything, one of the things I think Oda is showing us is when you look at the cover story with Nicole Robin, for a short period of time was held in captivity. She was a slave. And then when you go back even further, she was a slave to Crocodile. She was free to go about, do her own thing. It was more of a survival thing, but at the same time, just as Arlong had his claws in Anami, it's the same thing with Nicole Robin. She was never truly free. She was always running from her past. She was always keeping herself secret. She was morally having to do things that you look at her now, you can tell wasn't actually who she was, but it was survival. And that in itself is captivity, because you're not really free. You're not really living. Running ain't living. That ain't how life is supposed to be. And people that go through stuff like that are able to appreciate the small things in life a little better. And so getting back to Nicole Robin in that moment of observation, the reason why I think it's so important is Oda in that moment, when he draws that expression on Nicole Robin's face, and he has the sunglasses kind of tilted down, she's looking out the corner of her eye, she's looking down to the left, which in literature, when you see that, a lot of times it symbolizes thinking about past regrets, thinking about something in your past, that reflection. And to have her speak those words, that's Oda's way of conveying that when it comes to wrongdoing and just understanding each other, the only way that we really are going to understand each other is if we can experience what the other is going through to a small degree. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to experience walk a mile in somebody's shoes, to borrow a cliche. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but those of us who have been through certain things, when we meet someone else that has been through something similar, we understand each other better. And that's the whole thing. It's about understanding. It's about understanding each other's pain. Maybe I've never been through what you've been through, but if I listen, if I'm willing to listen, if I'm willing to speak up when I see things that are being done that are not right, by staying quiet, I'm allowing it to go on. And I like how Nicole Robin has that one moment where she looks at Jinbe and she says, well, these guys are former pirates. Are you sure we should do this? Take out the fact that they're former pirates. That still applies to the real world. Take that out, okay? Too often, we as people, we turn a blind eye when we see things because we say, well, that ain't somebody I know. Or that ain't me. That ain't somebody I care about. It won't happen to me. There's always a us and them mentality. And what Oda has in that moment is Jinbe steps in and he says, they're still humans. They might be pirates, they might be enemies tomorrow, but they're still humans. This ain't right. I can't allow these fishmen to become worse than the celestial dragons. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. And I think that applies now with everything that's going on. You know, like you guys know from following me as way back as a lot of you guys have. I don't mind touching on different things that are marked times and moments and everything. I think shit probably about a month ago I did a video I mentioned in passing the hell, it wasn't even a month ago, man. It was probably about 2 weeks ago. I did a video in passing talking about the whole thing in Charlottesville and everything, about how that's like really big in the news and everything right now. And what I find interesting is you still have people who say, well, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. Oh, you see these videos, these people getting shot, or why don't they comply? It ain't. You see so much, and some of the criticism, some of it's valid, some of it, if you know from just the few times I've shared some off the cuff moments with you guys talking, some of it isn't, well, you should just comply. Some of it isn't like that. And where we come to understanding is we accept the fact that when you hear so many people saying something, there's got to be some truth there. Somewhere you have the truth, you have lies, and somewhere in the middle, you've got reality. Okay, and I know I kind of butchered that expression, but the reason why I bring that up is if you look here, and if you look how Oda has the whole dynamics of Fishman Island right now, you have the past generation that is split. You have the ones that carry on Odahime's message. You have the people who misinterpreted what Tiger was trying to do, and this would be Holy Jones. They misinterpreted it, and they allowed their own experiences to taint the perception of what is right and wrong, what is morally right, what the interactions, the hierarchy should be. You have the new generation that some of them, they remember, like Shirahoshi, they remember the Queen Odahime. But you also have some of them, like those little kids, who they're still learning. They might know who she is through passing, like, oh, we used to have a queen, she used to do this. But they didn't live through life with her. They don't really know her. It's like a great way to put it. Like one of my coworkers, right? One of my coworkers is a huge LeBron James fan. Huge LeBron James fan. But he's so young, he never saw Michael Jordan play. I saw Michael Jordan play. I saw Kobe Bryant play. So I can see the different eras as how basketball has changed, because when Jordan was on the back end of his prime, I was at that age where I actually understood what I was watching, so I could appreciate Kobe. Now, the reason why I say that is when you get to the new generation, a lot of fans, a lot of Gen Z, they grew up with LeBron James, so they don't really know how great Kobe in his prime was. They hear stories, and when it comes to MJ, it's just like, oh, I could see a few clips on YouTube, or oh, I saw a clip here or there, but you never really saw the dominance in real time, so you don't appreciate it as much. It's the same thing with Odahime. It's the exact same thing. And so what I find interesting about that is this new generation unknowingly is taking up her mantle. And it goes back to what I've been saying, Oda's been saying, when you look at how deeply he's dived into racism and discrimination, it's always that younger generation that has stepped up and said this is not okay and they've done something about it. And that's what I think a lot of us can just take something away from. And I'm gonna move on to the fighting portion. This is a longer chapter review than usual, but as you guys know, the longer the review, the more I gotta say about it, the more hidden gems I found to be pretty interesting. And so Franky's whole battleship stuff, where he's got that huge weapon he created from Vegapunk's plans. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool, like the fight or whatnot. I like how he popped out at one point and told Chopper, like, hey, what the hell are you talking about, dude? I'm kicking some ass right now. I thought that was pretty cool. Then, at the same time, you know I wasn't going to not talk about this, man. The fact that Zoro says you ain't even worth killing time, man, let me tell you something, right? I ain't a Zoro fanboy. Like, I flip-flop between Zoro and Sanji. I like both of them about equally. Like, Sanji's a mega pervert. Zoro's just a epic badass. I like how Zoro's just like, you ain't worth killing time. You bring me the strongest swordsman on Fishman Island. Like, I ain't got time to be wasting with you. Bring me the strongest swordsman, and I'm going to go ahead and just end this right here. I love that. That is so arrogant on his point, but at the same time, it just shows you, whatever training that he did with Mihawk, Zoro's battle intensity is at a completely different level. Like, he's always been the guy that kind of jumps in and, you know, gets his hands dirty, does the dirty work, looks for the strong swordsman. That's always been Zoro's niche or cliche or whatever you want to put his role that he fills in the battle sequences. But at the same time, when you look at Zoro, right, there's just been more intensity. The way that he's been drawn, the way he's been acting, it's more intense, and I love it. I absolutely love it, and I feel like at some point Oda's drawn Zoro, and he's got him behaving in a way to where he's more of an alpha than before. And so that's why I said, like, if you just go back and you look at the Usopp stuff, it's the same thing. It's just subtle stuff. In this case, Luffy's nowhere to be found on there. But at the same time, Zoro's behaving in a way to where it's so alpha. Those two things, they can come to a head and clash at some point. They can clash at some point. Now, when you get to Sanji, I thought this was pretty interesting, right? Sanji, my dude right here, is so smooth, right? He sees like the, I think it's the Buddhist or something. Like, I can't remember his name. That's one of the problems with One Piece, in my opinion, just me, is the world building is so crazy. You get caught up in so much other stuff, but you get so many new characters kind of dumped on you. It's hard to keep track of all their names at the same time. And like me, I just gravitate towards the main players, and like the hero or the villain's helpers, I kind of just write them off. And if I got to go back and do a retrospective, then I'll go back and pick up these characters. But for the most part, unless they leave an impact on me, I don't really care about them. So you got this dude, he's just getting bigger and bigger, and Sanji's just goading him on. He said, yeah, still smaller than the Kraken. Oh, yeah, you got a little bigger? Still smaller than the Kraken. Oh, okay. That's pretty good. I think you're still smaller than the Kraken, though. He's just goading him on, and it's all for an opportunity to create an opening. I love that. I love that. Sanji is using his head. And that's what I find interesting, right? In a chapter, we see all the different Straw Hats kind of throwing down. Sanji was the one that took in my opinion, he took more of the leadership role, okay? Because by staying as calm as he did, he was able to correctly assess the situation. Not everything can be exchanged through a battle of fisticuffs. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I like that element, and I like that element. And again, maybe because I'm a bit of a Sanji fanboy as well, so maybe I might be overhyping what Sanji did in this one. Now, the other thing, though, this is another thing I found interesting, right? And it goes back to Zoro. It's what I've always been saying. Out of all the Straw Hats, all of them can run their own crew. But if I had to pick someone, it's definitely Zoro. Not only is he acting alpha in this chapter, right? He's acting like a big-ass alpha male. And he's just like, my dick's swinging, take a look. It's not as big as mine, is it? You're damn right. Like, I love what I see out of Zoro here, but what I love is the fact that when Chopper gets super jacked, right? And Chopper got me like, God damn, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Chopper didn't skip chest day. Like, he got fully formed chest, you know, Chopper looking nice right now, right? And Zoro just bigs him up because Chopper's a character when we first got introduced to him, you know, couldn't really take flattery, bit of a self-esteem problem. And Zoro, knowing who he's with, says, yeah, let me keep him fully engaged. And he says, man, yeah, that's a pretty badass form right there. And Chopper's like, yeah, I just want to look human that I can make friends. And Zoro's like, hey, yeah, keep that up, little buddy. I love that. I love that because part of being a leader is understanding the personalities of the people you're with. And that's Zoro got it. Zoro got it. That is one of my all-time favorite Zoro moments. I know this dude's got so many epic moments, from the fight against All Along to taking a whipping from Mihawk to Zoro fighting Mr. One and Alabasta. There's so many epic Zoro moments when Zoro and Luffy teamed up and they cut down that tsunami. I mean, it's so amazing what this dude's been able to do. But at the same time, the reason why this is one of my favorite moments is it's character interaction. You're seeing a different side to this really badass character. So I'm going to end the chapter review here, partly because it's gotten a little longer than I thought that this review would kind of get. You know, I thought for a setup chapter I wouldn't have as much to talk about. So what I want to ask you guys is, what were your thoughts on what I had to say as far as how Oda's putting the generational stuff up? Do you think I'm on to something here, that the younger generation, Oda's showing this is how you break through, not just for racism and discrimination, but just the things that we perceive to be wrong in the world? Do you think that's what Oda's trying to do? And if you disagree with me, let me know why down in the comment section. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for just staying with me this far into One Piece. I really, really fucking appreciate it. This has been so amazing to just continue this journey like this, man. It's been so amazing. But